I've had an issue with playing the drums in the last few years. There's been maybe 50% of the gigs that I've done live where I've come off stage and felt like I can't play. Now, this shouldn't be happening. I've been playing for 20 years, and surely now I should at least be feeling like I was playing better than I used to be able to play. And I've recently put this down to lack of adequate monitoring. Now, we use in-ear monitors when I play live, which means that I have control of all the microphones going into in-ear monitors, so I can control the drum sound and get it just as I want it to be. The issue is with the bass drum, because in-ear monitors don't give you the low end that you want. Now, they're not going to shake your body. So if you're used to using wedges and having a lot of bass drum pumped through there so you can feel it, then the in-ear monitors really don't cut it. So on recent gigs, I've requested to have monitors again so I can feed some bass drum through there. Now, you would think that would solve the problem, but depending on what venue you have and what gear they have and what monitor engineer you have, that changes all the time. So sometimes you get a good mix, sometimes you don't get a good mix. And even when you do get a good mix, there's a lag between you hitting the bass drum and you hearing the air move from the speakers. And you also create a lot of low end that makes it hard for the sound engineer to mix the drums, because all that bass drum is getting fed back through these mics. So I was on Facebook recently and I saw a Steve White post saying that he'd got a BC2 drum stool and he really liked it. And I checked out the website, which is porteranddavies.co.uk. And there was also quotes on there from Craig Blundell, who used it with V-drums, and Gavin Harrison. And all the quotes they weren't just, this is really good. They were in depth. I love this thing. This has made a huge difference to my playing. I wouldn't play without it. So, I was intrigued. And I know for a fact that Gavin Harrison does not endorse things unless he really believes in them. So I was almost sold on this thing before I even tried it. But I was still, a little bit dubious. So I picked this up yesterday afternoon and plugged it in, and I absolutely love it. I think this could be the best purchase that I've ever made in 20 years of playing the drums. It's expensive, but I'm assured by the makers that it's basically expensive because they've used the best quality parts and they've made sure that this thing is going to last you a lifetime. And I would rather spend my money on this than on a new drum kit or some new cymbals, because this literally makes the experience, for me at least, of playing the drums 100% more enjoyable, because I can finally hear what my right foot is doing, like all the time, and you have volume control over it. And it's just absolutely amazing. And another really kind of interesting thing about it is, if you're used to playing live and having big wedges to give you a nice big fat drum sound, when you're in the studio you can't do that. You can have cans on that will give you some low end, but you don't have that punch that you get when you're playing live. Now, I didn't think that this was going to work for that, because as I was testing it yesterday, a friend walked in and I'm playing and I turned this thing up and I could hear it get more bassy, and it felt really good. And I was thinking, that's great, but probably can't use it in the studio. And then he wanted to have a go, so he sat down and played the bass drum, and I was turning the volume up and down, and it wasn't making a difference. So, I asked him if it was working. He said, yeah, I can feel that. And turns out that it's not speaker in this stool at all. It just moves, and your body resonates and turns that into sound. It's a really strange experience because it does sound like bass, and it's just an incredible invention, and I'm so pleased that it has been invented, and I'm going to take it on every single gig that I do, and yeah, it just makes me feel like a better drummer. So check one out. I guess on their website they will list stores where you can test them out. I know there's one in Stockport, KD Drums, that have one in stock, and I'm sure they're going to be spreading around because everybody who tries this is going to want to buy it. I kid you not, it is fantastic. So what you get is the seat part of the stool. You can put that on your own bass, and that's just like a regular seat top. Apart from it's got this board in there that is what moves you. and underneath there's just a single speak-on connector. And then this is the other part, which is all nicely flight cased, and it even has information about how much it weighs and what the dimensions are if you're going to take it on an aeroplane. So if we take this off, the amp part, you can, in the bottom you can store your leads and your bass drum mic if you like. And in the top here we have the actual device. Let me turn this round. So what do we have? We've got a mic input and a mic output, which means that you just plug your bass drum mic into there and run the output to the sound engineer so he can do what he wants with it. And then you have a line input, which means you could also plug feed from a bass amp or have a mix of toms or something else in there. You've got the mic level, which I guess is the gain for the mic input, and you have line level, which is the gain for the line input. You have 48 volts if you need to phantom power your mic, signal indicators, low contour, which shapes the way that the stool responds to the bass end, and then the output. So we connect the speak-on cable to the output. We plug in some power, like so. I have my bass drum mic. We plug that into mic input, and then my feed to my mixer goes into mic out, and then we switch it on, and that's it. It's good to go. When you play the bass drum, the stool vibrates, and it does a really good job of that. So basically, that's what you get. That's how it works. It's all built to a very high standard, and I've been assured that it's built to last. So this is an investment you can keep for your whole drumming career.